Welcome to FBB Forum. If you enjoyed these interviews, please be sure to like and subscribe. I'm very excited to welcome the beautiful IFBB Pro women's bodybuilding competitor, Julia Whitesel, to the podcast. Julia is really fresh from the stage. She, less than 24 hours ago, she was on the stage at Vancouver Island Pro, and for her women's bodybuilding debut, because she had done physique prior. And after a heated battle and a really tough battle, she had placed second to Sherry Priami. But I think she has tremendous potential to win her next show, which is New York Pro. But thank you so much for joining me, Julia. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Now, tell me a little bit about the Vancouver Island Pro. It sounds like you really enjoyed the show, and it was really well run, and the promoters did a great job.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. The promoter, Corey, I have nothing but great things to say about him. He picked me up at the airport very late at night. He loaned me his dog for the day as an emotional support animal.
Wow.
Yeah, no, this has been one of the best ran shows I've ever been to.
That's terrific. That's really cool. And it sounds like, yeah, he's just really accommodating and really kind of looking out for the needs of the competitors.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's really cool. And so this is your women's bodybuilding debut. How long had you competed in women's physique prior to that?
Well, I started competing in 2014. I did one show in figure, did a 2-year off season to grow into physique, and then turned pro in physique at USA's in 2019. And then, COVID happened. So my pro debut didn't even get to happen until 2021. I did 3 shows in a row. So I did St. Louis, I did New York, and I did the Puerto Rico Pro. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then here I am.
Now, did the judges say that you should move up to bodybuilding?
So honestly, every show except for the Puerto Rico Pro, even as an amateur, I had never nailed conditioning. I just never gotten it down. It was just, I don't know. We just had a hard time with it. But Puerto Rico, I finally nailed my conditioning. And so it was kind of, I got 6th at that show, which was heartbreaking because, I'm I am literally field. This is the best that I can be. And I got 6th. So when I talked to the judges at that show, they basically just said, you're going to have to either stay and take some size off. And, I needed better proportions too. My waist needed to come down. My upper body needed to come up, but my legs needed to come down. So, train less hard, let the muscle come off, stay in WPD, or go to women's bodybuilding. And I have trained. I love to train. That's the whole reason I bodybuild. So I had no desire to let any muscle go. And honestly, just looking at my own pictures and stuff from the Puerto Rico Pro, my bone structure, I looked like I could go play football for the NFL at any point compared to those girls. So
I understand.
It just, yeah, they like that, small joints, small bones, small structure. So it was even at my best in WPD, I think if I was a last call out at the Olympia, that would be woohoo, this is all I'm doing. So I think the fact that women's bodybuilding is kind of changing at the time that it is has just been perfect for me.
That's terrific. Yeah. How tall are you?
5'8".
5'8". Yeah. Cause you kind of towered over the ladies in women's bodybuilding last night too. You definitely look taller.
I'm a big old girl.
And if you don't mind me asking, how much do you weigh?
I was 172 last night.
Wow. So you were quite a bit heavier than probably most of the competitors in the top 5 there too. Yeah. You looked amazing. And, the buzz in the bodybuilding community is that, you possibly could have won it. I think that it was really close between you and Sherry, and the judges kept calling you out to compare the two of you too. So obviously they were kind of mulling about like what they should do, but yeah, I really think that you have a good chance of winning the New York Pro, because I think you've got the buzz about you now that maybe you didn't have before, but also you just got the great physique and great stage presence too.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And yeah, and it's going to be exciting to see you at New York Pro. That's only 4 weeks away.
Yeah, we're very excited. I definitely we kind of looked at the game tape, and we need to come in a touch leaner for sure. We could have been a little tighter. I think some of that is just, this was only a 13-week prep for me, so my skin just needs to catch up a little bit. And then also, I really didn't get to do I had 2 years off, but I didn't really get to do an off season. I had like a really bad nerve injury. I got like my boobs redone. Like there was just a lot of things where it was not a good off season. So I think I started prep at like 178 and finished 172 on stage. So I feel pretty good about feeling fresh for the show,
Yeah, I thought you looked great. Was it in terms of the prep, you said it was 13 weeks?
Something like that. Yeah, 13, 14. Well, I was planning on doing the New York Pro, and then Female Bodybuilding Channel happened to post one day and say like there's only 7 chances to qualify, and that no one attended this show last year. So we were like, oh God, we got to go to that. Like,
sure.
So yeah, we busted it to be here.
They did. I was thinking transitioning from physique to women's bodybuilding too, was that tough? Because you had to learn new poses, and just learning those new poses can be kind of tough if you don't have enough time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it has been a frustrating experience, but I feel a lot better in them now. I think of course I want to still bring femininity to female bodybuilding, but I feel like it just looked so forced on me in WPD in those poses that I don't know. Somehow it looks better in female bodybuilding. I don't know.
I think so too. I think you're better suited to women's bodybuilding. And I remember it's interesting with Sherry, she switched from physique to women's bodybuilding with a very kind of short notice last year, but she really struggled with those poses last year. And I think it just takes a lot of practice, and even just being up on stage in that division probably helps in the long run, because you probably build more confidence doing those poses too.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I've had Christina Nicole on my side working on my posing, so that's been a huge help too.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's phenomenal. Is she competing in New York? I can't remember.
No, I think her new plan, what she said she's doing Chicago.
Yeah, oh that's right. Yeah, you're right. It is Chicago. Yeah. That would be kind of weird to compete against your coach.
Well, she's not my coach. She's just my posing coach. I would love to be on stage with her someday. Yeah, if she ever got like super peeled, you can't beat her if she's ever peeled, man.
I know.
You could not beat her. Yeah.
She's really amazing. Well, I'll start getting into some of the questions that I've got for you too. I was curious, when you first got started in bodybuilding, did you have an athletic or sports background?
Yeah, so my parents owned gyms my entire childhood and whatever. They owned gyms for 38 years, so I've always been around it. That doesn't necessarily mean that I was into it, because my parents did it and I didn't think it was cool at that time.
Yeah.
But I ran track and played volleyball in my earlier years in high school. And then I went the complete opposite route and was pretty rowdy for several years. And bodybuilding is, kind of what changed my life and got me sober. So
oh, good.
I have bits of athleticism, but a lot of bits of not.
Okay, yeah. That's so cool about your parents, though. So you kind of grew up around bodybuilding and gym life.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. Are they? So they must be supportive, I would think, of your career, bodybuilding career.
They're very supportive. My dad's funny because he's like my harshest critic. My husband and I always laugh because coming into female bodybuilding, he has said to me about 4 different times, like, "You're gonna have to grow your upper body a little bit, aren't you?" Like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
Dad, thank you.
Yeah,
They're
no,
funny.
that is cool though. Yeah, I can
Mm-hmm.
see him, but that's some good feedback though, because he probably has an eye for it just from all that experience.
Yeah,
Was
yeah,
he
for sure.
a bodybuilder himself, or did he compete?
No, no, he was never into the bodybuilding thing. But it was definitely like, it was the hip gym back when, we're in the same hometown as like Kim Chevesky. I always butcher her last name. Kim
Yeah,
Nichols now. So he was around them and got to observe all of that at that time. So
really?
he's been around it. He took me to the Olympia several times when I was young and wanted to go. So he was never
Wow,
into it, but they get it.
that's so cool. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome for them to see you compete at the Olympia too. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
I would love for them to get to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you in Kansas City?
Springfield.
Oh, in Springfield? Oh, very cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, now I was curious, um, how did you get started in bodybuilding, and who kind of convinced you to do your first contest?
Um, let's see, how did that kind of go? So pretty much like I worked at my parents' gym that they owned growing up. There were a couple girls that worked out at the gym that were like, I think looking back, figure physique competitors, and I just thought they were like super cool. So I hired a coach. This was at the same time that I was still doing a lot of drugs and
Mm,
tried to do both at the same time. So I kind of like got my interest in it at that point, and then had to, go to rehab, change my whole life around. So coming out of, I don't know if that was like my 4th rehab experience. Coming out of that one, I finally I got sober, got a new coach, did my first show, and then they brought me on like to be a part of their personal training team. So that really is what
mm,
pushed me into all it.
that's terrific. Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you with the Air Jordans, is that like your new addiction? Because I know you got a lot of Air Jordans.
Yeah, it's recent. Yes,
No, and
it's becoming a problem.
I know on your IG that you show a lot of them, the pairs of shoes there. Um, and bodybuilding itself almost becomes like a more healthy replacement addiction, I guess, from what I've
Oh,
heard.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
And that's good that you switched, and how long have you been sober now?
Oh God, that's been um how old am I? 31. That was so like 8 years.
Really? That's terrific. That's really good that you turned your life around like that. That's great.
Yeah, it's I don't know that, I mean, not that you can call bodybuilding the healthiest sport in the world, but it definitely gives me something to obsess over that is not going to kill me as quickly. Might kill me. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that line.
Oh no, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, now I was curious, when you first started competing, did you feel nervous on stage? And
Oh my God, yeah.
do you feel nervous these days?
Um, yeah, I definitely get nervous. Yeah, just kind of for different reasons. Prep is kind of a venture through your own mind, like I think you can be the most confident person and you still have, you can be going about your day thinking like everything's going great, I'm going to kill it, and you still have that little voice that's like, you're going to look small up there, they're all going to laugh at you.
Oh no.
So yeah, there's totally always going to be bits of that, I think.
Some like body dysmorphia type thing, would you say? Or
I don't even, I don't know, I think it's just it's so emotional competing and your head is so like just in a weird spot. So it's really, I think the longer I bodybuild, the more I realize it's a mind control thing. The better you can control your own mind, the better you will be at it. So
that's true. Yeah. I've heard
yeah,
that from a
it's
lot of folks. That's really interesting. Yeah. Um, but I interrupted you when you first started. Were you kind of nervous on stage or being up on
Absolutely.
in
Yeah.
the bikini up on stage like that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that that's something that kind of takes some time to kind of get used to and feel comfortable up there.
Hmm.
You
For
felt
sure.
you looked really confident last night. I thought you looked terrific last night. So, yeah,
You know, that was probably the best that I have ever felt on stage. That was about the least nervous I think I've ever been. That felt pretty good.
yeah. No, you really looked awesome up there. My I have a few questions about prep, and I was curious, what's the toughest aspect of competition prep for you?
Um, hmm, it's an interesting question. You know, I really I would go back to that like kind of managing your own mind thing. Like obviously, I will say, you know, my husband and I run a personal training and coaching business, so it's very hard to manage and invest in your clients when you're trying to do so for yourself. So
Yeah,
that is one thing I've had to make priority this year. This is the first year that I decided like, hey, I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket. Like bodybuilding has to come before work for once in my life. So
sure.
I do think that's very hard managing that. But then just you know, I took the last 2 weeks off of work and just, you know, I worked from home, obviously, with check ins and whatnot, but I wasn't with any one on one clients and just trying to manage myself emotionally with all the highs and lows. Like, I think
Hmm,
that is the hardest part. I really do.
sure, I understand. Is your husband, is he a bodybuilder too?
Yeah, he is. And that I think makes things so much easier. He's actually my coach as well.
Oh, he's your coach too? Really? Oh, that's terrific.
Mhm.
Have you guys ever competed in the same show at the
Oh
same
God,
time?
we have one time and we'll never do it again.
Really? Yeah.
It was really early on and it was like it was all the rookie mistakes. Never
Oh,
again.
oh, no. I think it would be tough having two prep brains in the house because you're just like, you need somebody
Yeah,
not in prep.
yeah, and just the fact that it's just you have to be selfish, and if there's two of you that need to be selfish, nothing gets done. So it
Yeah.
just can't happen.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And that, yeah, he's probably your rock when you're getting ready for the show too. So that's really important to have that support.
Oh my God. Yeah. This is the first show he's not here with me for the first time. This is the only show I've ever done without him just because we had some issues getting him to Canada, whatever.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's been really, really weird. I literally, after getting off stage at pre-judging, like sprinted to my phone, call him and be like, how did I do?
Oh, that's terrific. Was he watching at home on the PP or pay-per-view?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's cool. Yeah, very cool. That's awesome. That's good that he got to see you too, see you and how you did and on stage and everything. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah. Yeah.
I bet he was very proud of you too.
Yeah. He was happy last night. Obviously, you know, we wanted that Olympia qualification, but we can both, you know, I mean, Sherry's paid her dues. I have not yet. So we have things we can improve. So it would be pretty cool to go win New York, man. So
I know. I think
we're
you
fired
yeah,
up about that.
I think you have a good possibility of winning it, definitely. And there's definitely, like I said, more buzz about you too. So um now I was curious when you are doing you're coming off of a show and you're kind of going back into off-season shape. Do you kind of find that tough to deal with, like body dysmorphia wise?
Oh, I think any woman that tells you they don't have a hard time with that is full of shit.
Mhm. Yeah,
um, yeah, no, I think it's gotten easier for me as I've been doing this longer. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard. It's definitely, and it's hard too, I think, because I work with uh clients every day that are like trying to achieve goals, and whenever you're watching them either get ready for a show or even just a weight loss client that's like improving every day, like you miss that. So
yeah,
it's been a few years since I've had to deal with that, so it's not super fresh on my head, but yeah, it's never fun, I can tell you that.
yeah. I understand. And with New York Pro coming soon, are you gonna you don't have time to bulk up per se, but you gotta try to stay lean or
Oh yeah, we want to come leaner. So
yeah,
I'm literally back on my diet today.
really?
Hmm.
Wow. Okay, very cool. That's awesome. See you come in leaner. Wow.
Yeah, we're coming to party. We're not gonna mess around if we're gonna go swing at it. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And New York Pro, that's a bigger stage too. So that's yeah,
mhm.
you got to come in ready. That's great though. Um Now I was curious, you talked a little bit about it, but you said you had taken last year off to kind of recuperate and grow, or no, 2 years off, right?
2 years. Yeah.
Now, what do you feel, what kind of results have you achieved from that, from taking that 2 year break?
Well, I mean, just to be very honest, like it was never intended to be 2 years. I took the first year off because I had done 3 shows in a row and I was really, really tired. I got really lean for Puerto Rico. Like I hurt. So I needed some time. I needed some time to refocus on work. We
Hmm.
needed to switch and let my husband compete a couple times. And
Hmm.
then, I ended up with this freaking nerve damage to my hand. So basically, like I've lost function of half of my left hand. So that's been a
Really?
fun.
Wow.
Yeah, no, yeah. I have a gimp hand now, so that's cool.
Oh, really?
um,
Wow.
yeah, it's a shitty deal. It's a lot shittier of a deal than I ever let anybody know. I like have a very hard time gripping things. I'm learning to work around it. It's not really affecting me as much anymore because I've trained around it. But whatever. Long story short, so it wasn't really like a 2 year off season where I feel like I got to put a lot into it. So really, like I I was kind of equally as surprised at the improvements I was able to make in the last 13 weeks as I think everyone else was, because I
Yeah.
literally think all that happened in the last 13 weeks. But I
Wow.
do think my body really appreciated the rest clearly because it was ready to go. Um, this is the healthiest I've ever felt during a prep. Like my body literally acted like a different body than it ever has during this prep. So I think the rest itself was great. And yeah, I mean, I ended up like 12 pounds from my last stage weight at this show. And I think all of that really happened during prep. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm really excited to like actually get to do an off season this time.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's wow, that's really impressive though. I was curious with your hand, is it tough to use the machines and do dumbbells and barbells and stuff to
Oh,
grip?
yeah, so like I mean, I've had to in the beginning it was like close to impossible. I just couldn't hold on to anything. It's only half of my hand, so these two fingers I can still move. I just don't have a lot of dexterity in them, but like this half does nothing. So I
Hmm.
can hook grip things. I've gotten stronger being able to like, rotate it around.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm just making it work. I mean, I can pretty much may have to regrip a couple times, but it so far it has not caused me any like imbalances in my physique. It's hard to pull my pants up with my left hand, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, we're making it work. It's okay.
That's cool. Is that something you can get surgery for to get the function back or
I don't know. I got so frustrated when it first happened. I was in so much pain. Like I would not wish that on my. So basically, there's like tiny pieces of metal sitting at the nerve bundle, like under my arm. And they
hmm,
don't know where the metal has come from. I don't know. So I
hmm.
think basically that nerve got punctured. I lost function. So there's no one in my area that is willing to go in and do it. So I got so frustrated trying to talk to doctors. They just kept sending me for different MRIs, and the season was, approaching. So I just decided like if I want to be able to focus on bodybuilding, like it's my time to do this. So I just decided I'm just gonna put it off. If it's permanently damaged, whatever, like I'll deal with it after the fact. And otherwise I'm just gonna wait till I have time to have surgery. So
Sure. Wow. Oh my gosh. I
that's
hope
how
you
dedicated I am. I don't even care about a left hand. That's how dedicated.
That's pretty dedicated. That's impressive.
Uh, it sounds so stupid out loud.
No, no, I mean that, but that shows your dedication to the sport, and I think that's really impressive. And but I hope you can get surgery at some point on it. So yeah,
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
yeah. Now, we talked about your coaching. I was wondering if you could, since you're a coach yourself, could you give advice to up and coming bodybuilders about finding a good coach?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the biggest thing that I see in my area, you have to, you need to look at like the coaches, what's the word? You need to see testimonials. You need to see like the proof is in the pudding. So you need to look at not only the athletes that they post all the time, but people that they don't talk about that they work with. Because
Mhm.
everyone's going to post their highlight reels, right?
Yeah,
And don't hire someone just because they look great on stage, because there are a lot of genetic freaks out there that have no idea how they make it happen. They just make it happen.
yeah,
Um,
that's a good point.
oh yeah, there's a lot of those. And then I think, obviously like my husband and I work together as a team, and I know the standard is there are more male coaches than there are females, but I
Mhm.
really appreciate, I don't know. I feel like I have a different relationship with my female clients than I think a male coach could have with theirs, only because I can talk to my females differently than like my husband can talk to his female clients.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something to that, but you have to find somebody that cares as much as you do. That's really the biggest thing, because you can go out and hire the best coach in the world, or you could hire Joe Blow down the street. And Joe Blow may know less, but if Joe Blow cares more, you're going to get a better result. So that's really what
Hmm.
it's all about.
That makes sense. I think that's really good advice too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no magic. I looked for the magic my first several years. I hired lots and lots of big name coaches, and I waited every time to get my plan to be like, what's their secret? There's no secret.
Yeah, I understand. I've heard from several of the women bodybuilders about try to avoid somebody who's giving you a cookie cutter approach. You really need a really personalized approach, and that's really important.
For sure. Yeah.
Now, I was wondering if you could talk about your own coaching experience and how long have you been a coach, and are there any clients that you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I have been coaching. Well, I've been doing the personal training thing almost, I think I'm at 9.5 years now.
Hmm.
Um, it was probably 3 or 4 years into that before I put my first person on stage, only because I wanted to wait until I really felt like I was ready to do that, because you can screw someone up if you're not ready to do that, right? So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I feel like my husband and I run a really great business. We are both, um, consider ourselves very empathetic people. We want to be or not. So I
Hmm.
will want your success more than you probably want it, and I will take on all of your problems and make them my own.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I think that's why we're very good at what we do, is because we care aggressively. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to think. We just had 3 girls turn pro last year. We had one the year before that. Um, most of the thing is, like, we're in a small town in Springfield, Missouri. So most of our clients are 40 to 50-year-old women that come in as weight loss clients, and then we talk them into doing a show. So
Oh
we don't get
yeah.
a lot of like, yeah, I mean, that's where all of our competitors come from. We don't often get people that are just already competing, and it doesn't happen often. So I'm
Sure.
pretty proud of the people that we've turned pro, because it's like, mom of four that's been competing for a year just got her pro card. Like, I'm pretty proud of those.
That's awesome. Yeah, I bet that's really, and you kind of get to live vicariously through them too, that you must be really proud when they turn pro like that.
Oh my God. Yeah. The one client mentioned highlighting a client. So my best friend that actually traveled with me to Canada is my client. That's how we met, and that's how we become friends. She actually now works for me. She trains clients for me, but she got her pro card last year at Team U, and I've been working with her for like 5 years. She came from bikini. She's a very tiny, small framed person. She's almost 50 years old, mom of two. But yeah, she turned pro, and that is the only time I have ever happy cried in my entire life. And I sobbed an embarrassing amount in the middle of that show.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing. And she came to be my right hand man this weekend. So I'm very appreciative.
I think, yeah, was she in recent Instagram posts? I think I might have seen her.
Might have been, yeah. I mean, her and her daughter were here with me this weekend, if you saw them.
Maybe I'll have to go check back. And what's her name?
Melissa Chick.
Okay, very cool. We'll have to include her Instagram down below, maybe. That would be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Um, Now, yeah, you mentioned about Springfield, and I know it's not a huge metro area, but do you find it must be, would you say it's a supportive community for bodybuilding, or is it just like they just don't understand it because it's small?
I mean, so I think anywhere you go, you've got like groups of people that like think that they're into bodybuilding. So we've kind of got that little crowd. Obviously, like I mentioned, Kim and Chad still live there, so they obviously are bodybuilding people. Yeah, other than there's a couple. I'm trying to think if we have any other pros even in our area. Really don't think we do. As far as like if it's supportive for like muscular women, no.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, no. No, no, no. I get stared at so hard. Absolutely not. Yeah, no.
That would be interesting to get like a local TV news segment on you. Although it might not go over too well, though. They'd be like, huh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I literally just heard from one of our clients the other day said something about someone they saw at some event said that we were like, we turn all of the women into men over at our gym because all the women that work out with us are muscular, and they make that comment. Like, come on.
No.
We're
Oh
not
no.
talking like big women, we're talking like bikini chicks. Like,
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
Oh man.
Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good though.
No, nope.
Um, Let me see. One question I wanted to ask you, and we're running a little low on time, but we have about 6 minutes left. But in terms of switching from physique to bodybuilding, I was wondering if you could give any advice to women that are considering that move.
I don't know what kind of advice to give, really. I think obviously if you're like a big framed person like me, I would say go for it because it seems to have gone well for me.
That's true.
Yeah, other than that, I mean, if your body type fits and you're ready to put on some size, go for it.
I think it's kind of cool from a fan perspective. I've heard women do that and say they don't have to hold back anymore. So is that kind of, I would think that would be somewhat liberating for you, just to be able to, you don't have to hold back to be within the constraints of the division.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
That's really cool. Now, and I was curious in terms of your physique, what's your favorite muscle group and what's your least favorite?
Oh, my favorite thing to train is always going to be legs. Probably glutes specifically. Least favorite. I really am very bored when I train chest or arms. I'm not a fan of that.
Really?
Not a fan. It's really boring. Really, really boring. Obviously, everyone likes to like throw around a heavy bench press. I enjoy that too, but like how many ways can I press this bar? It's like not that entertaining.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Your legs and glutes really stand out, and they stood out last night for sure. It was really amazing.
Thank you.
And I thought that too when you were on the physique stage a couple of years ago too. And but that you were getting to the point where I thought, yeah, maybe you should do bodybuilding. So it's good you made the switch, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Now I was curious if you were in a leadership position with IFBB or NPC, what would you do to improve the sport of bodybuilding, and how would you make the sport better?
Mm. Gosh, that's a hard question. I don't really know that like I have anything in particular that I would throw out there. I mean, you're always going to have people that like bitch about being subjective, but it's always going to be subjective.
That's
I think,
true.
I mean, I have not found it to be, you're always going to have people that say politics and stuff like that, but I have not found that to be a thing. Maybe that like your super local levels where, but I really have no complaints with the IFBB or NPC, so I don't know.
That's great. Okay, very cool. Would I was one thing I think is kind of cool about the women that compete, it does seem like it's pretty collaborative and and maybe more so than the men. But have you found that to be, women supporting each other that are competing?
Yeah, for sure. And I really, after doing the show yesterday, like the amount of women that like I've looked up to throughout my bodybuilding career that have reached out to say something to me, or even like going into the show, some of the women that reached out, like it's just really fucking cool, man. Like there were some that like literally almost brought me to tears because I'm like, why is she talking to me? That's so nice. So yeah,
Wow,
women in the sport have been really great.
that's terrific. Yeah. I think that there's some supportiveness amongst men too, but you know, but I think just men being men, they have to kind of, trash talk or whatever.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the men are not quite as like I never hear my husband say like, "Oh my god, this guy messaged me."
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I had joked with somebody recently that if bodybuilding was like pro wrestling, and you had like a little bit of trash talking behind the scenes, between switching out the scorecards, that might be kind of like an interesting diversion, but I don't see him doing anything like that. It'd be funny though.
It would be funny. I would be down for that.
Yeah, it could be like like a Randy Macho Man Savage promotion kind of thing, or promo, and yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I love it.
I think it'd be
They
fun.
kind of tried to do that at the Olympia this year, no? Like the press conference was a little more cheesy this year.
That's true, yeah. But I think to make it really intriguing, you have to have it like backstage and have the camera guy there, and it has to be all very kayfabe, kind of staged.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Um, well, do I have enough time for a question? I have time for a quick question. When you're out in public, and you're in Springfield, do you like to show your muscles off in public, or do you prefer to keep covered?
I'm just kind of like an asshole about it, so I will just wear whatever I want, and then I'm the person that will yell at you if you stare at me for too long and don't say something nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really don't care. I'm not like a super like insecure person. I am what I am, and if you want to look at it, you better say something or look away.
Okay, cool. Yeah, people can be kind of rude and stare for sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Well, we're just about out of time, but I want to thank you so much for joining me for the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'll include your Instagram and Melissa, was it Melissa Chick?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, her and your company's IG as well. So but yeah, thanks again. I really appreciate it, and best wishes to you in New York.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.